Hi everyone, Sunflower here. I'm back at home. My shingles is healing pretty good. Still have the rash up on my forehead. My eyes not swollen shut anymore. So hopefully be getting back out on trail this week. This video is gonna be about my first night at Hawk Mountain Shelter. So about 2.5 miles before the shelter, Josie pooped out of me, and I was carrying her in my pack, and I was really struggling because I was pretty tired. And this guy Jackson came up behind me. He was a tall redheaded guy, red beard, and he came up behind me and was talking to me, and then this guy from England came up. I don't know his name. I just call him the Englishman. And he's like, well, you know, if you need me, I'll carry her, I'll carry her, the rest of the way if you're really struggling. And I said, well, thanks, but I don't know that she would have gone to him or not anyways. But so we finally get up to Hawk Mountain. We get our water before we go up to by the shelter, and we start setting up our tents and everything. And there was probably, I don't know, 20-30 people tenting around there. And so it was pretty close quarters. We were probably maybe 6 feet apart from each other and stuff, just in our tents and hammocks and that. And so I'm setting up my tent, and there's this guy with dreadlocks like 6 feet from me, and the guy is like super gaseous. He was just farting up a storm, and I'm just like, okay, and I'm trying to ignore it, and I'm looking over at the Englishman, and we're just kind of smirking at each other and stuff. And so then I get all set up, and I go over to the picnic table, and I start eating my supper, and this young kid comes up there, and he screwing his canister to his little stove thing, and it had like an automatic ignition on it. So the guy lights it, and the whole thing catches on fire. It's like it just went all over the whole can. Everybody at the picnic table is just running, and the guy doesn't turn the switch off, and he like panics, and he just throws it, and so now it's rolling around in the dirt by the fire pit and stuff, and some guy's yelling, turn the switch off, and another guy's like, it's gonna blow. So everybody is just like scattering everywhere, and the guy and another guy, they're throwing dirt on it, trying to get the fire to go out, and they finally get it out and get it contained and everything. And what had happened is another guy was looking, and he's like, well, you didn't screw it in all the way. So if you're gonna use your stove, make sure you got it screwed all the way into the can before you light it. And it's probably a good idea never to do it by your tent, because if something like that happened by your tent would be gone. And so that was the first thing that happened. So after I ate and everything, I went to the privy, decided, okay, time for bed. It's like 7 o'clock maybe. And the Englishman's blowing up his pad, and he's got one of those noisy tensor ones, and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry, but my pad's a little noisy. I'm apologizing ahead of time because, it's going to be loud. And I'm like, no problem. Well, then all night long, all I hear is ee from him moving, and then the guy across from me, the dreads guy, he's just all night long. I mean, it was continuous. I'm like, I didn't know anybody could have that much gas. I've seen people up for colonoscopies have less gas than that. And he was just farting away, and I was just like, I got no sleep that night. I was laying there. I didn't feel real good. My heart rate was really elevated. It was like in the 130s, 140s, and I felt very anxious. I couldn't get my heart rate down. And so just listening to those two all night long, it was like, oh my gosh. So come about 4 o'clock in the morning, I decided I need to pee. So I was like, I don't want to get up and go to the privy. So I got my little urinal thing, and I've used it before and it worked good, but my mistake was I left it this height. You can expand it like really big. Well, like it comes out about this long, you know. And so I start going, and like a dummy, I had never changed into my sleep clothes. I was still in my hiking pants. I had merino pants on, and I had some shorts on and my underwear. And so as I'm going, I'm realizing I'm not stopping. It just keeps coming and coming. Pretty soon the whole thing is just overflowing. My pants are getting soaked. My sleeping bag's getting soaked. So I'm like, oh my word. So I was not happy. And by the time I finished going, I mean, there was just pee all over the tent. I'm trying to unzip the stupid zipper on the tent just to throw this thing out the door. And finally got that thing out the door. And this is not something I'm going to ever use again. And I think I got pee on me. Yuck. But anyways, so that happened. And I tried to go back to sleep after that. Couldn't go back. I never really went to sleep, I don't think, that whole night. And by like 5, 6 o'clock, people were like getting up and packing up and stuff. So I figured out I might as well just pack up. I was going to zero there, and then I thought, no, I need to go get all this pee stuff cleaned up. So I got all my stuff packed, except I had my Gossamer gear, like, you know, thin pad underneath my other pad. They were still sitting there, and Josie was all wrapped up in her little bag and stuff. So I thought, oh, I'm going to run up to the privy. So I go up to the privy and come back, and then I'm like letting the air out of my air mattress, and I'm like, why is this all wet? And like the bottom of the tent was all wet, and I'm sitting there thinking, there's no way, because I cleaned all that up last night with like baby wipes and stuff. And so I was like, you know, and then it dawned on me. Josie had gotten out of the bag while I went to the privy, and she peed. So she peed all over my sleeping pad and the pad underneath it. So the whole tent just stunk. So it was like, nope, we're going to take a zero today, because we got to get this mess cleaned up. So I got everything else packed up, cleaned up, and the Englishman and Jackson were still at the shelter talking and stuff when I got up there. And we were like the only ones left at the whole place. And they, I was talking to the Englishman about the guy with the gas all night, and he's like, I couldn't believe how much he was farting. And I said, yeah, we should have called him Beano, because he needed some Beano the next day, but he was gone before we could give him a name. And so they left, and then I was the last one to leave the shelter, and I still wasn't feeling good. And I got like 3 miles in. I still had about, probably 3.5 miles. I think I had another half a mile to go before I got to the van. And I think my blood sugar dropped really low. I took metformin that morning, probably shouldn't have taken it. And so I was wolfing down a Snickers, and then I started sucking on a lollipop and made it to the van. Met another guy on the way down. His name was Harry. He was from Maine. We gave him a ride into Dahlonega, and then we went on to Hiawassee, because Steve wanted to go to the joint chiropractor place there. So we went there, and I went to the laundromat, did the laundry. I felt horrible the whole time. I was dizzy. My heart rate was still high. So I was figuring I must be an AFib, because I think my electrolytes got all out of whack, and it just, didn't feel good. So we slept in the Planet Fitness parking lot that night, and the next morning we get up. I'm still having the high heart rate and everything. We go into Planet Fitness, take showers, and then come back out to the van. And stupid me had forgotten to take Josie potty. So all over she had peed all over Steve's bed. So back to the laundromat we had to go. We went back to the same laundromat, did laundry all again. I still felt like crap, so we went to Walmart. I had Steve buy some potassium, and I started taking some potassium and more magnesium. And by about 3 o'clock, my heart rate finally broke, and I was back down in the 70s, felt fine, was hungry. So we went to Moe's, ate, and then spent the night there, and then I slack packed the next day. But so fair warning, if you're hiking, make sure you have your electrolytes, because you definitely don't want to be going into AFib. That can become dangerous. And I definitely was in it for at least 2 days, and I wasn't sustaining at any high rate, but it was up and down between the 120s and 140s, which not good when you're hiking. So I hope you like and subscribe. Please give me any comments or suggestions. And I have some more videos coming, one about peeing and pooping in the woods, and the other one's about my shingles. So hope to be out on the trail and see y'all soon. Thanks.